Picture this. A man so powerful, he conquered all his rivals, unified a massive country, and declared himself the first emperor of everything under heaven. A man so ambitious, he built wonders that still awe us today, but so terrified of death, he spent a fortune chasing an impossible dream, immortality. This is the story of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Before him, China was a fractured land, a chaotic battlefield of 7 major states, locked in centuries of brutal conflict known as the Warring States period. It was a time of constant betrayal, shifting alliances, and endless bloodshed. Into this world, a prince named Ying Zhang was born. From a young age, he showed a ruthless determination that would define his life. Ascending the throne of the Qin state, he didn't just want to survive, he wanted to win. And win, he did. One by one, through brilliant military strategy, relentless campaigns, and a good dose of political cunning, he vanquished his rivals. In 221 BC, the last enemy state fell, and the wars were finally over. Ying Zhang stood as the undisputed master of a unified China, but the title of king was no longer enough for him. He created a new title, one that would elevate him above all rulers who came before, Shi Huangdi, the first emperor. With a vast empire under his control, Qin Shi Huang embarked on a radical mission of transformation. He knew that military conquest was just the beginning. To truly hold the empire together, he needed to unite its people in every way imaginable. His solution was standardization, and he enforced it with an iron fist. Imagine trying to do business when every state has its own money, its own system for measuring grain, and its own way of writing. It was chaos. The emperor swept it all away. He decreed a single currency for the entire empire, the round copper coin with a square hole in the middle. Suddenly, trade became seamless. He standardized weights and measures, ensuring a pound of rice in the north was the same as a pound of rice in the south. Most impressively, he standardized the written language. While different regions still spoke their own dialects, they would all now write using the same set of characters. This was a stroke of genius, creating a cultural glue that would help hold China together for millennia. He even standardized the axle widths of carts to create a uniform system of roads, making transportation and communication across his empire faster than ever before. But Qin Shi Huang's ambition wasn't just about practical reforms. He was a builder on an epic, almost unimaginable scale. To protect his new empire from nomadic tribes to the north, he initiated one of the most famous construction projects in human history, the Great Wall. Now, the wall we see today was mostly rebuilt by later dynasties, but the first emperor was the one who conceived of the grand vision. He connected existing walls, fortified them, and extended them, creating a massive defensive barrier. This monumental undertaking, however, came at a staggering human cost. Hundreds of thousands of workers, many of them conscripted peasants and convicts, labored under brutal conditions. It's said that for every stone laid, a life was lost, and many who died were buried right within the wall itself. And yet, the Great Wall was not even his ultimate masterpiece. That was reserved for his death. Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with his own mortality. The man who had conquered the world of the living now sought to conquer death itself. He sent expeditions across the seas in search of the mythical elixir of life, a potion that would grant him eternal youth. He consulted alchemists who promised him immortality through mercury pills that, ironically, were likely poisoning him and contributing to his paranoia and erratic behavior. As his fear of death grew, so did his preparations for the afterlife. Near the modern-day city of Xi'an, he commanded the construction of a secret, sprawling underground mausoleum, a tomb complex designed to be a palace for his eternal rule. For decades, over 700,000 laborers toiled to build this subterranean world. Ancient historians wrote of a tomb filled with replicas of palaces, towers, and even a map of his empire with rivers of flowing mercury. For centuries, these accounts were thought to be mere legends, until 1974. That year, a group of farmers digging a well stumbled upon one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time. They found a life-sized clay soldier, poised for battle. And then another, and another. They had discovered the Terracotta Army, the silent legion guarding the first emperor's tomb. What's been excavated so far is just the tip of the iceberg. Thousands of soldiers, each with a unique face, stand in military formation, infantry, archers, charioteers, and cavalry all ready to defend their emperor in the afterlife. There are even non-military figures like officials, acrobats, and musicians, meant to entertain him for eternity. It's an army of ghosts, frozen in time, a testament to one man's incredible power and profound fear. The central tomb itself remains unexcavated, its legendary treasures and deadly traps still a mystery, protected by the Chinese government for future generations to explore. So how did Qin Shi Huang achieve all this? How did he unify a fractured land and launch projects of such epic scale in a reign that lasted only 15 years? The answer lies in his governing philosophy, legalism. Legalism was a stark, unsentimental belief system. It argued that people are inherently selfish and must be controlled by strict laws and harsh punishments. There was no room for morality or tradition. Only absolute obedience to the emperor mattered. Under legalism, Qin Shi Huang centralized all power. He abolished the old feudal system, dividing the empire into 36 commanderies governed by officials he appointed directly. This ensured no local lord could rise up to challenge his authority. This system was incredibly efficient for mobilizing resources and manpower, allowing him to build the Great Wall and his mausoleum. But it was also incredibly brutal. The laws were unforgiving. Small crimes could result in forced labor or mutilation. Criticism of the emperor was met with execution, often of the critic's entire family. Perhaps the most infamous act of his reign was the burning of books and burying of scholars. To eliminate intellectual opposition and ensure legalism was the only philosophy. The emperor ordered the destruction of historical records and philosophical texts from other schools of thought, particularly Confucianism. Hundreds of scholars who defied the order were reportedly executed. It was a ruthless attempt to wipe the slate clean, to erase the past and ensure that history began with him. In the end, the emperor's quest for immortality failed. In 210 BC, at the age of 49, Qin Shi Huang died, likely from the mercury elixirs he believed would save him. His death was kept secret by his most powerful advisors, who feared an immediate revolt. They even placed carts of rotting fish around his carriage on the journey back to the capital to mask the smell of his decaying body. Their plot to install a puppet emperor on the throne quickly unraveled. The brutal policies and immense suffering inflicted upon the people had created a pressure cooker of resentment. Once the news of his death was out, the empire exploded into rebellion. The Qin dynasty, designed to last for 10,000 generations, collapsed just 3 years after its founder's death. So what is the legacy of Qin Shi Huang? Is he a visionary unifier or a megalomaniacal tyrant? The truth is, he was both. He was a man of monumental achievements and unforgivable cruelty. The systems he put in place, the centralized government, the standardized script would be adopted and adapted by future dynasties, shaping China for the next 2,000 years. He forged a national identity that persists to this day. Yet, his name is also a warning about the dangers of absolute power and the terrible human cost of one man's ambition. His story is a powerful reminder that the line between a great leader and a fearsome despot is often terrifyingly thin. He gave China its name and its unity, but he did so through fear, fire, and blood. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by the figures who shaped our world, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We've got many more stories to tell. See you next time.